Well, all right. Thanks for coming to the panel. We're going to talk about NFT fraud and crypto fraud generally. We've already heard from the prior panel about the regulatory environment in which we live, which is, not particularly clear. As we already learned, the most of the law in the space is really around enforcement actions, and it's going to take a while, I think, until we get the legislature excited and interested in making regulations. So that means that some of the underpinnings of crypto are still true. Don't play with money that you can't lose, and stay vigilant. And that's the beginning and the end of the panel. But let's get into the topic. I'm Steven Masur. I'm a attorney at a firm called MGA, Masur Griffiths Avador. And we have built a team around crypto and NFT sales and have been having a lot of fun in the space. I used to work at the Securities and Exchange Commission a long time ago and have been a tech lawyer since then. And this space is really lights me up. Really love it.
Oh, no, Yvonne. Introduce yourself. Come on now.
Believe it or not, I'm actually an accountant by training. I may not look it like today. Where do I start? I work for People Browser, which is the holding company behind NFT.NYC. 6 months ago, I didn't even know what an NFT was. I'd heard about the blockchain, and that's about the extent of my knowledge. And can you hear me now? Shall I start again? Okay, my name's Yvonne. I'm an accountant by training, believe it or not. I don't look like it today. I'm the finance manager for People Browser, which is the company behind NFT.NYC. I've been with them for coming up 4 months now. And 6 months ago, I didn't know what an NFT was, let alone any of the fraud and pitfalls that might come up. But I've worked in finance for a number of years, and the same principles still apply. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. That's where my brain thought ends. Over to Jeremy.
Thanks, Yvonne. Give it up for Yvonne. Come on, guys. Give some claps. Thank you. Come on, all the way from Australia for this. My name is Jeremy Lewis. I am the Senior Director of NFT Acquisition at Crypto.com. It is great to be here. Thank you for everyone for showing up. I am curious, is anyone in this room, and if there's no hands that go up, I swear, don't make this awkward for me, has anyone experienced, and I don't mean to swear, but some bullshit or some fraud or anything that has come against them when it comes to NFTs? All right, somebody, give me something. What happened? Anybody at all? Come on, hands up. I saw one over here. You. What happened?
Strange airdrops.
Strange airdrops? Who's that strange airdrops? What else? We had some strange airdrops. What else happened? You back there. Loud and proud. Loud and proud. Oh, peer-to-peer trade with some fake escrow. Anyone else have that happen? One more. Who else? Oh, shit. Oh, really? So what are we going to do about it? Let's talk to a lawyer. Steve.
Well, this is a really interesting area. A lot of the regulatory framework is behind. The enforcement is also behind, and the number of people available to enforce is essentially very small. So it really does come down to self-regulation at the moment, and possibly for the long term. And that's something I would like to actually advocate for, is that in the regular securities market, you do have self-regulated markets. And I think that in crypto, it's a good way to go. So if you take the evolved ape situation, has anyone heard of the evolved ape scam? Okay, this is real quick. This is a newish NFT scam. Happened, I think, about a month ago. And what happened is that they put up a bunch of apes. They were called evolved apes. And interestingly, the person behind it, possibly in the audience today, went under the pseudonym Evil Ape. So that was kind of your first tip off that maybe something might be happening?
I think, a bit of the day-to-day that we deal with is a little bit of good intentions. A lot of folks just do not understand how to keep themselves safe. The biggest issue here is education is still very behind. You think regulation's behind, but as far as being able to go and get good information, it's very bleak. So as far as us and the way we do our department is very much like we try and do a little bit of trying to get good projects, but at the same time, a lot of folks do not understand how to actually put a project up in a way that is safe to protect both the project and the people that are going to be a part of it.
And also it's harder to recognize the scammy projects and the sort of red flags that you should be looking for. But in the case of the Evil Ape scam, the red flag there was a non-multi-sig wallet, a single sig wallet.
Yvonne, I'm going to put you on the spot. From an accounting perspective, what kind of things are happening? What are you seeing? What's the issue, and what are you trying to stay away from?
One of the biggest things that I have faced is traceability. By its very nature, it's public and open, but completely anonymous. So keeping track of all the transactions and tying them back to something that you know what it is a challenge. And talking to our firm of external accountants, one of the things that the accounting world really hasn't kept up with is how we're going to audit this. Because the transaction is there, but it's just a series of hash numbers. How do you know who and what that is related to? I myself the other thing is transferring funds from one wallet to another. I myself did a transfer from one wallet to another, and it didn't appear. It left the wallet, didn't end up where it was supposed to be, because I transferred across a network, USDC to an Ethereum wallet, and there was a heart-sinking moment. Oh my God, I've just lost my boss's money. How do I tell him? But they managed to work out and put it back in the wallet, and it made me realise how easy it is to lose money and make a simple mistake. And I'm just doing a legitimate transaction. So my advice to anyone getting involved is get some financial knowledge behind you, understand what you're doing. The same principles apply to the crypto market and the NFT market. Where there is high returns, there's going to be high risk. So don't get into this unless you're prepared to lose everything.
And share information. So
Absolutely.
Finishing up the ape story, what happened there is the people behind the scam obviously did a whole bunch of trading, put all the real money in a wallet, and then cashed out and disappeared. Okay, so the aftermath, very interesting thing happened, and what should happen over and over again, in my opinion, is that the people who had been scammed didn't sort of like hide and they weren't embarrassed and thinking, oh, I'm going to look stupid if I admit to having been scammed. Instead, what they did is they collected themselves together into a DAO, and they kept the project going.
Yeah.
And their new mission for the Evolved Ape project is to find the Wicked Ape. And that's what the original thing was a game, and that's what they changed the game into. And so if you think about this, now they're sharing information, touching on your education piece, where all of us as crypto traders, NFT traders, nobody knows everything. Nobody's the smartest one in the room. Maybe there is one. No, I didn't meet him yet, or her. And that's the only way we can learn. It's the only way we can protect ourselves, is sharing information, coming together, and forming a cleaner market through clear information.
And I guess that's where that concept of community comes in. I've been around long enough, unfortunately, or fortunately, to see a few tech booms myself. And what separates this one is actually this concept of community, and that people are prepared to share information. So another piece of advice is get involved in a community, because you're less likely to get caught out in that respect. So, yeah.
I mean, from a fraud perspective, everybody had their hands up. I'm not the lawyer, but Steve is, so I'll offer his services for free right now. In terms of the folks that are trying to not have this happen again, not that I'm saying he's going to give any legal advice, but I would be curious, is there anyone out there either who is interested in how to make sure to protect themselves, has any questions, or anything that you'd like to put in this room filled with people that probably either know more or more interest than anybody else? Any questions at all? Any hands? That guy right there. Please be loud, be bold.
I just want to make sure you guys know about Theo, because it solves this problem.
Ooh, we got a pitch. I love this.
You got to do it. It's really important for the industry. We got to make it easier and simpler. And I want to make sure, have you guys even heard of it? FIO.
We have not, but I want to hear about it.
No.
Where do we find it?
FIOprotocol.io, been around since last year. Finance Labs access. It's human readable addresses. You can also sign your NFT.
Love it. Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Thank you.
One pitch. Right here.
Let's say you find the ape.
Loud and proud.
Let's say you find the ape. Yep. What's next?
That's
Steve.
a great question. If you find, well, let's say you find the ape, then what? Well, there's
Fraud
always
in general.
lynching, but there's a
Legal culpability and responsibility.
yes, they do. They've definitely violated the law. It was a fraud, Ponzi scheme. And the Justice Department will be interested. If you go back in the history of crypto, a woman named Katie Hahn was an extremely good crypto investigator, and people are following in her footsteps. She's the one who was responsible for taking down the Silk Road. And now, interestingly enough, she's turned into a venture capitalist, but she went on a path, one of the smartest people you'll see online, talking about the regulatory and legal issues, but a lot of people are following behind her. And if you think about who enforces these things, these are going to be young attorneys, young investigators who want to make a name for themselves. So if they, something like the Wicked Ape, like many things in crypto, it's going to be based on PR, based on news stories. And these young investigators are going to be very interested in that. The Justice Department, Interpol, enforcement agencies in other countries. And that kind of gets to my final point is, I think as we all know, this is more global. Our teams even are global. Just like you were saying, it's a community-based thing, much more than any other technology that preceded it. I've been practicing law in the tech space since the beginning of the internet. And what you said was exactly right. This is a community, and it's an international community where we have teams from every country. And that's what's going to make this a very interesting enforcement market and also regulatory market, because it's going to require agreements between the nations and sort of an ignoring of sovereignty and the issues of sovereignty. And that's going to be really hard on the government level, not hard if we work as a community.
Over here. So the question is, how is the fraud and the things that are going on going to impact the regulatory bodies either in the States or elsewhere, and how will that take place over time? I mean, listen, I'll pretend to be a lawyer, but if you want to take it first.
All right, I always like to try to work in a Biggie quote, mo money, mo problems, right? With the newbies coming to the market, the mass adoption, as you called it, the people who know even less than we know in this room, will also come the regulators, and will also come the enforcement. But we're really early days, and you're going to see there's going to be a lot of fraud before there's a lot of enforcement. But the more egregious the situation, the more public outcry for something to be done, the more will be done on a government level. And you have to ask yourself whether that's what you want. Do you want that? Do you want this to be a government-regulated market or a self-regulated one?
I mean, I genuinely believe that, although I believe we'll eventually get there, we're not even close. I mean, if you see somebody pulling some shit, it is up to every single person in this room to make sure that you are the one flagging that. We cancel people for the dumbest reasons right now. Why don't we cancel somebody for actually coming out and hurting this community? And that's every single person in this room. We probably got a question, time for one more question. Anybody else? Right there.
How can you use the Lanum Act to protect yourself if you are company competing with another company and you have evidence that the other company has used fraudulent means to sort of bring your product down or to make their product better than yours in some way using fraud. And I think the answer is that it's really, really early days. And I think that the creative lawyers on the litigation side really haven't even entered the room yet. So this is a very creative idea that you've come up with, but it also requires there to be a competition issue. So the Lanum Act is an antitrust regulation, and that's what, approving the elements of the fraud under the Lanum Act is going to be about competition, and it was written really to protect in a much less complicated market than we have. So I think it'd be difficult, but I think it's a very good idea.
With the last minute left, everybody in the room who is actually trained and has the ability to help and give counsel, I'd love to see some hands in some specific place where the folks that might not have the finances, might not have the team, might not have the infrastructure in place, but they need some advice. This is the only place that we're going to be able to be in person and meet people. Please put your hands up. Please network with each other. These are so anybody who is actually a lawyer who can help give some advice and would be willing to put your hands up. And the folks that need it might not be able to afford it. Thank you, but do not be shy. This is the time to learn. Go network. Go ask these people for advice. Please, please, please. We will only get better as a community if we're working together. We really appreciate the time, and this is some super exciting stuff. But the early days can have some scary stuff. So I appreciate everybody as well. Thank you for your time, and I wish we had more questions, but hope you have a good week.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if you want to contact me later, our website is masur.com.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.